Hey guys, I am back. Welcome to Pinterest in 10 minutes a day, where I am here to help moms take control of your online business with just 10 minutes a day using Pinterest marketing. My goal is to teach you the ins and outs of do it yourself Pinterest marketing so you don't have to pay for a VA or you can become a VA on your own, share success stories, and provide actionable tips to help you grow your online business. So let's take control of your limited time and resources and grow with Pinterest today. So I'm going to be honest, Pinterest isn't a magic wand that you can just wave around and get instant traffic, okay? Right? It is a long-term game, especially in your first year. The the highest number of people give up on Pinterest after 3 months, and you typically aren't going to start seeing results for 6 to 9 months. So really, if you invest a good year into it, you're going to start seeing what you want to see and get a better idea where you're at, okay? So I want to give you an idea what your first year on Pinterest should look like. But I'm going to say you still need to take this with a grain of salt. When I started growing my online businesses, I would get in maybe an hour of work during nap time, maybe 5 days a week. I say maybe because I've had 5 kids over the years of growing my business. Okay. So, and my oldest is 12 and my youngest is 4. So this has been a long time coming with Pinterest. And for my business, I chose to grow it slower, spending less than 10 hours a week on my business. Okay. So somebody who might be like me versus somebody who might be spending 40 hours a week on their business growing it, you're going to see different results after a year. But we're going to kind of give you an idea what to look for. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure your business is set up for success. So within this first year, you want to make sure you're laying all of that good groundwork. Because here's the deal. If this good groundwork isn't laid at the end of the first year and you're still seeing nothing, it's really, really frustrating. I'm not going to lie. The number of audits I have done with people who have been on Pinterest for like 3 years and just looking at the profile and the keywords and all of that stuff is off compared to what they were trying to sell makes sense that they weren't seeing the growth. So really, this first year, you want to set your groundwork. So be happy if you've got your profile in, you have a list of good keywords, you have your profile optimized, your boards, you're starting to fill up those boards, you're pinning good quality content to these boards. Hopefully it's some of your content, hopefully it's some of other people's content, and you're just showing up, getting that good foundation on your Pinterest profile, okay? The second thing is you're going to be consistent, okay? So this first year of Pinterest, consistency is key. Now, I get it. I'm a mom. You're probably a mom, or you're really busy, or this is a business that you're doing while you're working full time, right? But consistency really does pay off here. And this is because Pinterest is a search engine. It's not actual social media. So we're not saying you have to constantly be on it all the time, responding to notifications and stuff. No, that is not true, but you do need to be consistent. So I have had students start off with one pin 3 days a week and see growth. Okay. I recommend in my Pinterest Organic Growth Academy for you to start off with one pin a day, right? One pin a day of, when I say one pin, I mean one pin of your content leading to your content a day, okay? In the Pinterest Organic Growth Academy, I dig into more about repinning your content, repinning others' content, how to get your 10-minute Pinterest strategy in there. But for this first year, if you can do one new pin the 5 days a week you're working or the 3 days a week you're working and be consistent like that, that will add up by the end of the first year, okay? With that foundation of your profile, with the consistency, you will start seeing numbers and growth. So the third thing we're going to talk about is growth. It's going to take time. So don't look at your Pinterest profile daily and weekly and be like, these numbers aren't changing. No, that's really frustrating. But it does take time. Pinterest is like a garden, right? You'd have to have a lot of water and waiting before that seed actually pops up. So, but if you have that good soil, like your Pinterest profile, and you're being consistent, you're adding that water, it has that sunshine, it will grow. I did a podcast about this a few times ago about what to see if you're not seeing. I should have written it down. I didn't write it out. But the steps that you will start to see is if your profile is set up and you've got keywords, you're going to start seeing pin impressions, which means on this big Pinterest board, you are on the Pinterest home feed and there's like, depending on if you're at your phone or desktop, maybe 10 to 30 pins that you can see. If your pin is anywhere on that group of pins, it's an impression. So you're going to start seeing impressions first as they start getting into the algorithm and as people are using those keywords. And then after you see impressions, you're going to start seeing more pin clicks. A click is when they click on a pin and it makes the pin larger, or they click on a pin, they go to your website, would be traffic, or they might be saving your pin. So you're going to go from impressions to pin clicks and pin saves and then traffic. Now, this is a general speaking, right? You might see some traffic before you get saved or vice versa and that type of stuff. But generally speaking, most of my students, most of the people on Pinterest, you'll start seeing those impressions. You'll start seeing more pin clicks where they enlarge the pin saves, and then you're going to start seeing more traffic. Followers kind of coming throughout all of that. But it's happening. It's happening. And then this is the fourth thing you're going to do with this whole full year to expect is to check in monthly. Okay, not daily, not weekly. And sometimes those first 3 to 6 months, even checking in monthly can be frustrating. But when students go through my academy and when you're new onto Pinterest, if you have everything set up right, typically between 6 to 9 months, you should start seeing consistent saves and start seeing that traffic, okay? Some Pinterest gurus say that it takes up to a year. So it really depends on your niche. If you have a super big niche and it's watered down content, it might take longer. If you have a small niche, you might see stuff more. It's really back and forth because even if you have a small niche, it might take longer. It really depends on the keywords you're using, the growth, and the niche and how consistent you are, okay? But ideally, between that 6 to 9 month mark, you want to at least start seeing impressions, okay? But I do recommend checking them monthly. And I want you to look at your impressions. I want you to look at how many pin clicks or saves. And you're going to look at if you're getting traffic and just look at what pins are performing. Ideally, by around the end of a year, you'll start seeing more consistent traffic and you'll start seeing the numbers go up. Okay. Typically by the end of the year, you might have 1 or 2 pins that are already bringing in a higher number of traffic than not. I know for me, with one of my website, it has been 5 years straight, and it's the same pin that brings 80% of my traffic. Okay, so but it takes time. And the other thing to understand is the lifetime of a pin is like 3 months, right? So when you put a pin on Pinterest, you might not even see clicks or saves for like a month, 2 or 3 months down the road. A lot of my pins took off after a year of being on Pinterest. Okay, so in a nutshell, for your first year Pinterest, you need to be patient. It's growing, it's getting there. Be patient. If you want to make sure, if you're a little bit impatient like me and you want to make sure you have everything set up right, while you're waiting for that year, definitely sign up for a Pinterest audit. Those are very helpful. You go to sharicemerrill.com/audit, AUDIT, and you'll be able to look at my different audits that I have there. The second thing is it's going to be consistent. This first year, you just want to show up consistently. And I recommend smaller than bigger, okay? So it's better to be consistent with 3 pins a week than with the 30 pins a week because Pinterest is going to adapt to you. And it's way easier to go from 3 pins a week to 10 pins a week than to drop from 30 pins a week to 10 pins a week and see your numbers drop that you were just getting there, okay? So you're going to be patient, you're going to be consistent. Pinterest is a marathon. It is definitely not a sprint, okay? But getting this first year foundation is the hardest part. If you're going to quit, you're going to quit within the first year, okay? That's typically what happens. If you want help building a solid Pinterest foundation, then definitely look into the Pinterest Organic Growth Academy. It is made with busy moms in mind. I dug into Pinterest for a good 3 years straight, and then the next 2 years tested out my strategy. And I just spent less and less time on Pinterest, but kept keeping these foundations in line and it grew. And so it goes through all of my mistakes, telling you what not to do, what you can do to see growth. It's not one of the trendy academies where it's like, this is what you need to do right now. No, this is tried and true for going on 12 years using Pinterest. Okay. So it is that set of foundation. It's sharicemerrill.com/POG. POG. It stands for Pinterest Organic Growth. Okay, your action step. Your action step is if you have not started on Pinterest, go get started on Pinterest. Set up your free business profile. If you are on Pinterest, how long have you been on Pinterest? If it's been a year and you are not starting to see traffic, then look into getting an audit, look into your monthly analytics and see what's working, what's not working, and make some tweaks there, okay? If you're in that year phase, You've started like 6 or 9 months ago. Stay consistent and be patient. Okay. That is your action step. Decide where you are at on the Pinterest timeline right now on what that next step is. If you're a beginner, make sure your profile is set up right. If you're in the middle of the year, look at those analytics, see what's working, see what's not working. If you're running near the end of the year and not really seeing any numbers increase, then decide what your next step is. Whether you want to sign up for a class, whether you want an audit, whether you want to do more research, figure out what that next step is for you. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to ask questions in my free Facebook group. It's called Woman on Pinterest. I am there every day. Well, not every day. I'm not there on the weekends typically, but I'm there during the week. I'm answering questions and I would love to see you guys there. Okay, bye for now.